Pranam mantra is a sloka that has a great meaning, that this universe with all these multifarious things is nothing but the one. It was created from the one and it will dissolve in the one. Ya etam devam ekabritam veda sa sarvasmai vipashyati yacca pranani yacca na tamidam nigatam saha sa esha eka ekabrid eka eva sarve asmin deva ekabrito bhavanti. This is from the Atharva Veda. This is all one. The one and without any second. If anyone can realize that, this knowledge, to him goes the supreme power. He is the one, one alone, in him all deities become one. So that is the teaching of the Hinduism, the complete one, but at the same time this teaching comes down through different way. Sometimes it is our Upanishad, Veda, and sometimes the stotras, and also in the form of history. That is a very special in Hinduism, particularly India. I should not say Hinduism. The special is even the history speaks of high moral values, spirituality. So here we are studying in the course of the India Eternal that already we have completed the Veda, Upanishad, we touched those, and we have reached to the history. Ramayana we have completed, now Mahabharata. Now we are discussing the great characters of the Mahabharata. We have already discussed about the life of Krishna, the peerless, and the life of Vibhabrata Bhishma, the terrific. Today we will go through the lives of three brothers, Dhirtarastra, Pandu and Vidura. Here the interesting thing is that from the lowest to the highest being, one thing is very common, that is the urge to survive. Even the ant also wants to survive, and the human being, the highest manifestation, is also wants to survive. That urge to survive. And not only that, after my demise, after my death, my legacy should continue. That is also the desire. Sometimes it is said Ishana. Ishana means desire, and there are Putra Ishana, Vitta Ishana, Loka Ishana, this is all there, but Putra Ishana, to survive, to continue my progeny, that is there. Among the great souls, the rishis and the sages, the saints, the monks, they like to survive through the disciples. The kings through the heirs or the next generations. Ordinary people through the children. So we have seen how even today, particularly in India, other places I don't know, the people, they always long for a boy child. The boy should be there so that my family continue. So that is a very peculiar, and that is natural. You cannot just blame. And there are so many, in the modern times, so many Veda arguments are there, but still desires are there, ideas are there. So we naturally cannot blame when the Satyavati, the wife of the Vichitravirya, she found that Vichitravirya died without any children. What will happen? So naturally Satyavati approached the Bhishma, and not the Vichitra, sorry, Shantanu. The Shantanu. So naturally he advised the Bhishma what to do. Her two sons, they also died without having any children. So that family, particularly the kingdom, how? Because Bhishma has promised that I am not going to rule. I won't be the king. If there is a king, then I will protect him. I will guide him. Satyavati came and told what to do. Now you tell me, you are not going to be the king, and my sons are dead, and their wives are there, though young, but they cannot have the children without the help of somebody else. What to do? She was expecting that Bhishma will agree, but that was the system in those days. Bhishma told, Mother, it is impossible. Once I have taken the promise, I am not going to break it. Forget about it. Then he consulted the Brahmins, the learned Brahmins. The Brahmins suggested him one system called Niyoga. And from them, Bhishma learned and told the mother Satyavati that when Parashuram killed the Kshatriya, the clans, all one after another, 21 times he waged the war and killed so many Kshatriya kings. Their queens, the slain kings, they all approached the great rishis for procreated children, and then they procreated the children with the help of them, and that way they helped to survive the Kshatriya clan, Kshatriya race. So this Niyoga Pratha, the system of Niyoga is there. It is accepted by the scripture, accepted by the society. So you have to do that, then you tell whom you like to approach first, but he must be very good in character and all. And it's very good if he belongs to the same family. Satyavati remembered her son, that is Vyasa. The Vyasa's father was Parashara, almost all of you will know. And Satyavati, before the marriage to Shantanu, and she had that son Vyasa. Here one thing is very interesting. Kunti too had this type of thing, but Kunti didn't disclose the birth of Karna. But Satyavati, without hesitation, declared it. Why? Because Kunti, without the permission of the society, maybe his father, parents, without the knowledge of anyone, got that son Karna with the help of the Surya. So she was ashamed. It was not accepted by the society. But Satyavati, as because it was known, and as because the father was a great sage, Parashara, there was nothing to hide. I think in this way. It may be different explanation may be there. So the Satyavati remembered her son Vyasa, and remembered also the promise of the Vyasa. Where was Vyasa? She never knew. And she never inquired about this son. But now that it is necessary, she remembered the Vyasa, the son, told mother, whenever you will remember me, I will come over there in the speed of mind. Just remember and I am there. That was the promise of the Vyasa, who was famous as Veda Vyasa, etc. You know, the same type of promise also did by Shankaracharya to his mother. And when the mother was telling, I don't have anyone else except you, when I am sick and I am dying, then I want to get water from your hand. Shankara promised, you just remember me, I will come. Immediately I will be there. So these are the capacities of the great yogis. So the Vyasa promised to his mother, and mother remembered, and he was there. When the mother told that this is the problem, you have to save us from this problem, he said, okay, I can do that, but thing is, you must ask the queens to practice austerity for 1 year. Satyavati argued, there is no time, because there is no one on the throne, and naturally, slowly, disturbances are occurring all over our kingdom. You must have to do something right now. Vyasa, through his yogic power, could understand things are not going to be good. But even then he said, okay, at least go and tell the queens about me. Explain them, who am I? Perhaps Vyasa wanted to tell that he was totally ugly, completely, and very repulsive, the smell from his body. So he was afraid that the queens may not like it. So he told his mother, go and tell it to the queens. Get them ready to receive me. That was the thing. They must receive me properly. Satyavati went and told the first wife of Vichitrabirya, Ambika, that my elder son will come to you. She knew this Niyapratha. She was thinking Bhishma will come. And she was very much fond of Bhishma. Bhishma was a very good looking person, so she was happy waiting for Bhishma in the chamber. But instead of Bhishma, when the Vyasa entered, the tall, black, long hair, matted hair, beard, and the bad smell from the body, and very terrific looking person when approached, she got terribly afraid and closed her eyes. So Vyasa came back and reported the mother, the son will be very powerful. The power of 10 elephants will be in that body of the son, but he will be blind, he will be born blind. As because the mother closed her eyes, not respecting me, so I can't help it. And Dhirtarastra was born, Dhirtarastra was born. The name Dhirtarastra, that's a beautiful name. One who is holding the Rashtra, the kingdom, the Dhritarastra. But very unfortunately, he could never become king in a proper sense. He was just de facto king, and he was not at all satisfied all through his life. After that, the Satyavati approached the second wife of the Vichitrabirya, Ambalika, and told her that you should not be afraid. He is a very good person, a very holy person. That don't be afraid. Ambalika waited, didn't close her eyes out of fear, but when the Vyasa appeared before her, out of fear she became pale, and Vyasa reported to her mother, this son of the Ambalika will be very powerful and very intelligent, but the color will be pale. So the Pandu, his name became Pandu because of the pale. Satyavati was not satisfied, though these two grandsons were there, both were slowly growing up. Satyavati was not that way satisfied because of the physical problem of both the grandchildren. So she approached once again to Ambalika, requested Ambalika, this time you know him, please accept his blessing, and I want a very good grandson who will become the king of this kingdom. Ambalika could not say no on the face of the Satyavati, but secretly she sent her maidservant, and that maidservant was famous for her beauty, and she was very, though she was from the very low caste community, but she had a great devotion for the holy people. So when she came to know the Vyasa will come, she was going on repeating the holy mantra, purifying herself, preparing herself, thinking herself blessed that she will be in the company of such a holy person, holy man. So that way, when the Vyasa appeared, saw her, understood the mind of that lady, was very pleased and blessed her. From now onwards, you will never become the maidservant, and your son will be respected all over the world, and he will be known as Dharma. The Vidura was born out of that. So these three brothers, Dhirtarastra, Pandu and Vidura. The fourth chapter of the Adi Parva of Mahabharata that describe about these three brothers, and very interestingly, this Dhirtarastra was very, very strong, though blind. Dhirtarastra, though the firstborn son legally of the Vichitravirya, could not become the king because of another incident. Pandu's son, Yudhishthira, he was the first son. So his son, Dhritarashtra's son, Duryodhana, also could not claim the throne. So we can understand the frustration of this person. He himself could not become the king because of his blindness. And he was having his brother, the half-brother. So the Pandu became the king, and Dhritarashtra was only supporting Pandu. And when the others told, though you are the senior most, but because you are blind, you won't be able to lead the army, so obviously you have to accept this, your brother will become the king. Dhritarashtra, though inside burning, apparently showed the happiness. From here we find that a very peculiar character. He is showing something which is not actually thinking. This is the first time we get a very peculiar character who was completely hypocrite. At the same time, he was very capable person in all respect. So this Pandu became the king, and Dhritarashtra was married the Gandhari. This Gandhara is the province of Kabul and presently known as Kandahar. That is Gandhar. It is a province of the Kabul state kingdom. And it was very, very poor country. Though it was under the rule of the Kuru family, but they were not helping these places, developing these places. So the people were not very happy with this king and who were there in present-day Delhi. So that was the political and social condition. From there, he married this because she was not only beautiful, she was highly learned and dedicated. This lady came without knowing that her husband is blind. He came with this great dream that she will be the queen of this vast country, and then she will be able to help her own province, the Kandahar, present day Kandahar. So that way the Gandhari from Gandhar, she came. Her beauty was unparalleled. And she was accompanied by her brother Shakuni. And Shakuni was very intelligent, but Shakuni was not getting any respect in this family, because coming from a poor background, the Shakuni was also having inside the mind a vengeance against this family. So different type of characters are coming together, and which we can always see in the present day society too. And an excellent way, the Veda Vyasa, who has written this history, the Mahabharata, he is describing, understanding the mind and attitude and the character of the people, is describing in this way. The moment this lady came and she understood that he is not the real king, and moreover he is blind, immediately she decided, as my husband cannot see this world, I too from now onwards won't see or look to this world, and she blindfolded. And from then onwards, she never opened her eyes. There is an incident that in one time she opened the eyes when the Duryodhana approached, but otherwise it is not. So that was from that Dhirtarastra and Gandhari had 100 sons. The eldest was the Duryodhana and one daughter, Dushala. Dhritarashtra was also having another concubine, and she was Saubali. And Saubali gave Dhritarashtra another son who was Jujutsu. He was a good fighter, warrior, Jujutsu. And all of them known as Kurus. In the meantime, when we will discuss the Pandu, we will discuss in details. Something happened, and one day the Vidura, the half brother of Duryodhana, the Dhritarashtra came. Why again and again Duryodhana is coming there? So almost that both are same. Dhritarashtra was Duryodhana like that. So anyway, he came and he announced that there is a wonderful thing happened for the family of the Kurus. Dhritarashtra thought that Duryodhana, his eldest son, has got the garland from the hand of Draupadi. So immediately he sent a lot of gift to the Drupad kingdom, Draupadi, and arranged everything to accept her as the daughter-in-law. So these things were happening. Then afterwards he came to know it is not the Duryodhana, it is Arjuna and the Pandavas. But now, instead of showing that he was angry, not liking it, immediately he behaved in such a way that the description it goes on like this: he defeated the best actors in his acting, showing in this way. So we are seeing the character of the Dhritarashtra. And this Dhritarashtra, when these Pandus came from the Pandus means the 5 brothers along with the mother Kunti, we will be discussing in details afterwards. When they came over here, then the council of the Brahmins, they advised the Dhritarashtra to give the kingdom in the hand of the Yudhishthira because he was the senior most. Moreover, Yudhishthira's father Pandu was the real king. So not only that, Bhishma also advised that, and Vidura also advised same thing to the Dhritarashtra. So he was, though unwilling, apparently showed his happiness and gave the kingdom in the hand of Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira became the king. Dhritarashtra was not at all happy. Though he was taking the advices from the Vidura, Vidura was his minister, he had another minister. His name was Kanika. The Kanika was very, very clever and shrewd type of person. So Kanika came at when he called him, and when he told the Kanika openly, I don't want these boys to be here. What can I do? I want my children, so the Duryodhana and others should be the king. What is your advice? The Kanika gave a long discourse advising the Dhritarashtra. And by reading, one can understand how intelligent he was. He was explaining the situations of the society, how the the subjects, the people may react and these, that, everything. Then he told the only way to be free from them, these Pandavas, to kill them. The more they grow, the more they will be popular, the more they will develop the friendship with others, and it will be almost impossible to defeat them. So this is the time they are still under your control, they still listen to you, so kill them now. And Dhirtarashtra accepted that plan. So that is when we are understanding a character of a person, though he was having so many other good qualities. But somewhere he was having the idea that I am not getting. From that idea, he became so cruel that he decided to kill his brother's sons. His brother Pandu was very close with Dhirtarashtra. Pandu used to go out. Pandu was a very strong person. He was very fond of hunting. So most of the time he used to go out and he used to keep contact with the Dhirtarashtra, and Dhirtarashtra used to send all his different type of things which Pandu liked. So they were very close, but Dhirtarashtra didn't hesitate to support this plan, and he discussed with Duryodhana, Karna, Shakuni and Dushasana. A man is known by his company. In English they say, a man is known by his company. He was not liking the company of Vidura, his another half-brother. And Vidura was accepted by the whole society as the Dharma himself. And not only that, when Vidura was giving him the advice that you should not do like this, because these 5 sons of Pandu, they are blessed children. You can never defeat them. But if you accept them as your own son, then they will give you much respect than your son Duryodhana. Rather, he said, Duryodhana, after the birth of the Duryodhana, you must discard this boy because he is not a good soul. Because of him, this whole kingdom will break and all the lineage will be destroyed. Kill him. The baby son, Duryodhana. And then the famous quotation the Vidura said, when you will discuss the Vidura, we will talk about that. So then the plan of killing the Pandavas, that was formed. Inside, many times, Dhirtarashtra is quoted in the Mahabharata. He is telling, I think this will be a great scene. Shall we do it? At the same time, the moment his son was telling, it is nothing. In the politics, it is always accepted. You have to remove all the thorns to get the throne. That is the politics. He immediately started accepting it. So his character was more towards the bad things, a little for the good things. So that same character we see in the personality of Duryodhana also. And he said to the Krishna, Janami dharmam nachame pravritti, Janami adharmam nachame nivritti. I know what is the right thing, but I don't feel like doing that. I know what is bad, but I am very much liking to do that. What to do? So that is the same character we find in the father, Dhirtarashtra. Now a place was there, the Baranabat, and a wonderful building was built over there with all flammable materials with the help of another crooked person, Purochana. So whenever you like to do something bad, you will always get this bad type of people all around you. And they will always come to help you. Swami Vivekananda said, if you think one bad word, then all the bad things in the whole universe, they rush to you. And they will enter into you. And they will inspire you to become a very bad person. If you think good, good will come to you. You have to accept that. So you are the maker of your own destiny. All again and again, the Vedanta says, Vivekananda, also said that I have to choose. Dhirtarastra accepted this plan, and the Purochana, he built that, and these 5 boys, they were completely having the faith on their Dhirtarashtra. Dhirtarashtra said, you have not gone out for a long time. You are all over here in this capital. Better go and enjoy, because that is a place where a lot of fanfare will be there. A long program will be there for 4 or 5 months. Go and spend some time over there. I will take care of the kingdom, and you enjoy your life. They accepted that. They were going out. Vidura, he understood this plan, and Vidura knew a special language, and no one else could understand that except one, that is Yudhishthira. It's a sort of a tribal language. So Vidura knew that tribal language, and Yudhishthira also. Vidura told in that particular language to Yudhishthira, this thing is going to happen. Everything that he is planning is to kill all of you. And not only that, they have sent their mother also, Kunti. The Kunti and the 5 boys were great happy that we are going for picnic. So they went over there. That is, and Baranabat and Purochan received them, and they were living over there, the beautiful house, and they were enjoying. Yudhishthira was not happy. One day the mother told, how come that you are not happy? Enjoy, that this is the beautiful place. Yudhishthira then disclosed to the mother and the Bhima that this is the plan, now what to do? Immediately Kunti was very clever. Immediately she told, do not disclose this thing to others, and never behave that you have understood the plan, but take some action by which we can save ourselves. Then they planned, and they contacted Vidura, and a group of people came and helped them every night to dig a long channel from that place inside the jungle. For the 5 months continuously, Panchapandava used to go inside the jungle at the pretext that they are going for the hunting, because the prince, they can always go. They went for the hunting, but they make a wonderful map of that whole jungle, so that when the time will come, they will come out to this jungle to save themselves, and they will know where to go, etc. So when that tunnel was complete, Bhim himself burned that building, and they came inside the tunnel and came out. Unfortunately, that particular day, Purochana himself, that man, he was there inside that building, and he was keeping an eye that these people are not going out. Purochana was happy that they are there inside, not knowing the other plan. But a mother and her 5 sons, they also came, had a lot of food and drink. They didn't go out. They were sleeping in the corner of that same building. So I don't think the Kunti was knowing this fact that this mother and others were there. None of the Pandavas were aware about their presence, because many people came that day. They invited them. There's a lot of food and drink, so they enjoyed that. And the mother and her 5 sons, they were felt asleep in the corner of the building somewhere. They died over there, burnt alive, and along with the Purochana. Now when the villagers came to report this thing to the king, Dhirtarastra, and Dhirtarastra again, like a wonderful actor, acted that his heart is broken. He cried, and without delay, immediately performed all the final rites for the Pandavas and their mother. And they were sure, because they found the burnt bodies of the 5, the sons and their mother. So they understood the mother and the 5 sons are dead, and they were very happy. And this was happening. Then afterwards, we know the whole Mahabharata, they were hiding, and slowly they came back. And this is what happened when they were there. They married the what's called Draupadi. That happened at time. So Dhirtarastra once opened his heart to Karna, and we can understand when the conversation with the Karna, Dhirtarashtra said, I have appreciated the Pandavas before the Vidura, so that Vidura won't be able to understand my real intention. That was the Dhirtarashtra. In the Adi Parva, Dhirtarashtra said like that. When the Pandavas after 5 years reached back to the Hastinapur capital, again the Dhirtarashtra, like a very happy father, came out and received them and told, as because I have already declared Duryodhana as the king, I cannot simply say that from today you are not the king. Brother, would you mind if I make the kingdom as half for you and half for him? Pandavas accepted, and with as if graciously, Dhritarashtra gave them Khandaprastha, an uneven dry land full with jungle. And this is in the central India, Bhosheal to Khandwa, that is the area. From the Bhosheal to Khandwa, that was the Khandaprastha, that area till now not much developed. But even then, Yudhishthira, because of his popularity, he got a lot of money, and Arjuna was there. So all these people, they developed that place. Particularly they came near to the Delhi, and they developed their capital in the Indraprastha. The Indraprastha, the ruins of that Indraprastha still is there. Some of the buildings are still there. It is in the now in the proper Delhi.
They have the Purana Killa wall, and there's a zoo behind it.
So from Delhi. Yeah, I went there to see that. So this is all history. It's not that, as they say, that just imaginary stories. No. So this Dhritarashtra we find. Then to make the long story short, you can say the Draupadi, she was married to the Pandavas, and King Drupada was very powerful. And Draupadi's brother was also very powerful. So naturally Pandavas got the support of the Drupada, and Drupada's family again, all his relatives, they also supported, and that is the system still now. If someone of the clan supporting someone, the whole clan will go behind that. So the Pandavas were not that time weak. They got a lot of support and friends. Then what to do again this time? The first plan failed, and now you cannot do the same type of thing. Second time, they were planning how to kill them or punish them or drive them out from the kingdom, and this time the dice game. That was the custom in that time among the Kshatriyas. If one invite you to war, you cannot say no. Even if you know that you are going to die, you cannot fight with him. Even then, you should not say no. You should go and die, but never say no when the invitation for that fight is coming, war is coming. And second is, if anyone invite you to play the dice, you cannot say no. So that was the system. So obviously, they invited Yudhishthira, and this was the game plan of that Shakuni. And Shakuni was a master. So Shakuni told, I will win the whole thing for you. So I will representing you. Yudhishthira was having all good qualities except one. He used to think that he is a very good player in dice. And he used to think that no one can defeat him. That was the only weakness Yudhishthira was having. So he accepted the challenge, and Yudhishthira came, and you know that story, one after another. He lost the game. Then finally, when that time came, Yudhishthira, he also kept that our Draupadi, and this time we hear the Vidura, only Vidura. And this Vidura said, Yudhishthira has no right to ask the Draupadi to come over here, because Yudhishthira has lost himself before. So legally, the moment the Yudhishthira is becoming the servant of the Duryodhana, he has no right to say this Draupadi as his queen. But even then, nobody listened to that, and Dhirtarastra himself was quietly sitting when the Draupadi asked him, so what is your opinion? Do you want support it? He was sitting quiet. Draupadi then wanted to curse, and she was having tremendous power. There's this spiritual power. Then Dhirtarashtra understood it. He called his wife, his queen, that Gandhari. Gandhari came, understood the mind of the Draupadi, and said, you better say sorry, otherwise if she cursed, then it will be very difficult. So that was happened, and they were allowed to go out instead of living over there. And this continued. And then after this great war, when everybody was dead, then he wanted to embrace Bhima. You know that tricky story, even in the last time also. When everything was over, when he was crying, the Dhirtarashtra was crying, Vidura came and told, it is all because of you. So many times I told you. Then Dhirtarashtra told, go away from me. I don't want you to listen. And if I see that you are near me, I will banish you like a servant. So don't do that. Go away. He was not ready even then to listen to Vidura. And he wanted, again he was showing that I am so compassionate to the Pandavas. So he said, I want to embrace the Bhima. Why? Because he was getting the information that Bhima is the one who was killing one after another his son. Almost all the 100 sons were killed by Bhima himself. And he was ruthless. The Yudhishthira and the Arjuna, they were having some soft corner, but Bhima never ever. He was ruthless, and he was going on killing these brothers, and except one who actually joined the Pandava camp. So he killed all of them. So he was very angry with Bhima, so he wanted to embrace the Bhima, showing that I am so having that love for the Bhima. And very intelligent Krishna understood that. He said, don't send Bhima before him. He could not fight, but he had the power of 10 elephants in his body, this Dhirtarashtra. Though now he is old, but still the power is there. So made a still Bhima, the iron Bhima, and that was placed before him. He embraced and made so much pressure he gave, even that iron statue of Bhima, it broke to pieces. But after that he started crying, and by that he understood that he made all the mistake. From here we find a beautiful character. That is the beauty of the Mahabharata. Swami Vivekananda said, a man lies, a man does all the bad things, but the moment he takes up the resolution that I am going to be good, he can become good. So that is the teaching we get from the life of Dhritarashtra. All through his life, and we cannot blame him because he could never become a king. He wanted to become a king. He had all the good qualities of a king. He was a very learned person, and he had strength, he had the intellect to rule a country. Everything was there. Because of the fault of the mother, the son was suffering. We can understand his mind. Then he wanted to enjoy the kingdom through his son. That too he could not. So obviously we can understand that he was frustrated, and whatever he was doing the bad thing out of frustration. Now when this happened, he understood this, and we see the wonderful characteristics. This person was the cause of all misery to the Pandavas. But the Yudhishthira told, you must live with me. He told the Dhirtarastra and Gandhari, you should not leave, you must be here with me. And they, after the war, when the Yudhishthira again got the throne, they lived 17 years. And out of the 17 years, 15 years in that with the company of the Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira used to give lot of money to him and made a rule that any decision that we are taking must be informed to him. Look at this. When the elderly people are there in the house, you are supposed to go and tell him what is happening. Not that they will do something, but at the same time the satisfaction comes that I am somebody in this family. So that is the psychology of the society. Yudhishthira maintained that, and he used to go and report everything to this king, Dhirtarastra. And he gave lot of money to Dhirtarastra to spend in whatever way he wanted. Dhirtarastra organized the final rite, the yajna for the departed soul of his sons and others. And he gave plenty of money, distributed plenty of money to the Brahmins, and this all was from Yudhishthira. And Yudhishthira said no, never said no to that. He had that complete freedom to spend any money he wanted. After all this, the old man very secretly, even without the knowledge of Yudhishthira, started practicing austerity. He started taking very little food, lying on the floor, wearing only the meager clothes. Like that he practiced austerity, preparing himself for the Banaprastha. And he was going on repeating the holy name of God and constantly remembering God, and that way he was purifying himself. Anyone can do that, taking the name of Lord and surrendering at the feet of the God. Anyone can realize that highest truth. So that is the teaching of the Mahabharata. And after the 15 years, when the Yudhishthira came to know that the Dhirtarastra is preparing for the Banaprastha, he came and started praying to, no, you cannot leave, you should not leave. Dhirtarastra, with a great affection, embraced Yudhishthira and told that this is the time I should go, because the final day is approaching. We must prepare ourselves. I have lost all attachment for this world and the family, but at the same time, if I live with you, I won't be completely free from the attachment with you people. So allow me. Then afterwards, all the Brahmins also gave the permission, all others also gave the permission. So the Dhirtarastra and the Gandhari started going out. And we see a wonderful picture depicted by the Vedavyasa. You know who was the person who was showing the path? Kunti. Kunti, the mother, the queen mother now of the Pandavas, and her son suffered so much, and he did so much to see that their sons are enjoying the kingdom. But when the time came, she told, no, this is also my time that I should go away. So that is the system of the Hindu family, that when the time came, they forgot all enmity, and with great friendship that Kunti was walking because both of them were blind, the blind by choice and blind by birth. So the Gandhari was placing her hand on the shoulder of the Kunti, and Dhirtarashtra was placing his hand on the shoulder of the Gandhari, and all the three were leaving, followed by Sanjaya and Vidura. Sanjaya, though Vidura, once he behaved very badly with Vidura, but still Vidura told, this is the time I should give my company with him because he is not having anyone. He needs my company. That's also the greatness. A person who did all through his life, but that is called forgiveness. One person came to Jesus Christ and told, how many times I must forgive my brother? Jesus used to talk about the forgiveness, and you can imagine 2000 years before, the word forgiveness was something, the Greek to them. So what is it, forgiveness? They never. So that was the society when Jesus was teaching them the forgiveness. One person came to him and he told, I like you and I like to follow your advices, and you talked about the forgiveness. Tell me, I am not very happy with my brother. How many times I should forgive him? You know the wonderful answer of the Jesus? 70 times 7. That means infinite times. Go on forgiving, forgiving, forgiving. Forgiveness is a high spiritual value. And we see that forgiveness here in the character of the Mahabharata. Kunti forgot all those things. Yudhishthira forgot, except Bhima, of course. Bhima never could forgive this. He said, this is the person for whom we had suffered, and naturally he could never forgive. But all others, well, to some extent they forgave, and these three were going. Sanjaya also followed, Vidura also followed. The first night they spent on the bank of Ganga, sleeping on the grass under the open sky. The great king. His kingdom was right from Kandahar down to the present day, what's called that, the Sri Lanka and all. So huge kingdom. Even then he was sleeping on the grass under the sky without food. Whole night they spent like that. And the next morning, crossing the Ganga, they started walking, and they towards the Haridwara, present day Haridwara they was going, and there was a rishi named Shatayupa. Shatayupa was king at the same time a rishi. So he was Rajarshi, Raja and rishi together, like Janaka, Rajarshi Janaka. So he was a king at the same time. Mentally he was a rishi. In his ashrama, these people went and they started living over there. When the Yudhishthira came to know about it, look at the Yudhishthira, he came again with all his family members to say final goodbye to them and spend 1 month with them. So the Yudhishthira was not having any the sense of the what's called, we can say, the bad feeling against this Dhirtarastra. So he came, he served the Dhirtarastra, and he was there for 1 month. Then afterwards Dhirtarastra told, even this place is also becoming so close to you people, so I should enter into the deep jungle, and time is short, please allow us. So all these 5, there's 2 queens, the Dhirtarashtra and Sanjaya and Vidura, they entered. Sanjaya Vidura didn't go inside the jungle, not so far. They started living on the bank of the Ganga and started practicing the austerity like many other people. But these 3 went inside the jungle, totally depending on the fruits that was falling from the tree, and they were going on meditating and repeating the name of God. Then suddenly one day there was the fire in the jungle. Without fear, 3 of them entered into the fire, and Narada noticing it, came back to report it to the Yudhishthira. But Narada got this information from the other ascetics who were practicing austerity on the bank of the Ganga, because Vidura reported this. The Vidura told they have gone to the heaven and their respective places in a calm mind when they were entering into the fire without hesitation, and their mind was very calm and composed. So this is the story of a king. Now I will quote as a final thing, the life of Dhirtarastra teaches that peace cannot be achieved without penances. And this highest penance is tyaga, renunciation. This is my sentence, I have composed this. The peace cannot be achieved without penances, and highest penance is the tyaga, renunciation. Then afterwards I came across some words of Lord Buddha, where Buddha said, in the end only three things matter. At the end of the life only three things matter. How much you loved. Second, how gently you lived. And finally, how gracefully you let go of things not meant for you. How gracefully you let go of things not meant for you. That is the beautiful teaching of Lord Buddha. I know that this doesn't belong to me, so obviously I should not try to get that, and by that way create problem for myself and problem for others too. And one thing also, the Mahabharata again and again say, the Vidura Niti, Manu Smriti, and all, they always say king must be just, because the decision of the king is the result for the whole multitude. The king is single, one person, but one decision of that king either bringing the joy or the misery for the whole multitude or the whole people. So king must be just. That's why attention was given for the good kings. And now that it is already, and I was thinking whether it is not correct, now it is correct. So it is already 12:06, now it is over. If you have any question or otherwise, other two brothers, Pandu and Vidura, this character we will study in our next class in the next month. Pandu was also a great soul but cursed, and Vidura was the highest character that we see, but without accepted by the society. So that was the thing. We will discuss about these two, Pandu and Vidura, in our next class. And after the Pandu and Vidura, we will discuss about the two great queens of the Mahabharata. Who are they? Two great queens. Kunti, Gandhari. Kunti and Gandhari, that is the two wonderful queens. And so we will discuss about that. Of course, in a separate chapter, we will discuss about the Draupadi, because she is the main character of the Mahabharata. Because of her only all these things. So, thank you. If you have any question or otherwise, yes.
Bhagavad Gita is a part of Mahabharata.
Correct.
In that one, in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Prakrute kriya manani gunahi, sarvan karmani savasya, inkar vimulatma karta hamati manyate.
Yeah.
All actions are performed by nature, but the egocentric person believes that he is the doer.
Yes. Yes.
This nature, that we talk about human nature or nature in general.
See,
My one question.
let me answer this one. So, Swami Vivekananda said in the Yoga Sutra, when he is explaining that Each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest the divinity within by, now he said how? By controlling nature, external and internal. So there are two natures, in the internal also the same nature, and that internal nature comes from different lives. Whatever we have did in the past, that is coming, and all those things are stamped on our mind, the subtle body, and it is traveling from different bodies after bodies. So that is the internal nature we have to control. Here the Krishna is also telling is the nature. Here nature means your character. Whatever you have done, that will force you to do. But suppose you distance that from that nature, then you are free. Prakrite kriyomanani gunai karmani sarvasha, guna and karma. So this is the prakriti, the internal nature that is forcing us to do. And when I think I am doing, that is the bondage. When I think I am not doing, that is not the bondage. Again, the same Krishna told, if you are killing the women, the Brahmin, and like that, you won't get the sin if you are detached from that. Isn't that in the same Bhagavad Gita is telling? So the nature is there, because if I understand, after practicing the austerity, controlling the senses, I am not that nature. I am totally different. I am pure. Then that nature cannot bind me. This is the first answer.
But Swami Vivekananda also said that if you are pure and if you are realized, you will not do anything bad because that's the way it is.
Yeah.
So no killing Brahmins, women, no.
No, that is, they say that if you do that, you are not going to get the sin. But the people who have reached into that stage can never do type of thing. Can never be able to do that type of thing, and because the thought will never come to their mind. So that is the main. And second question you wanted to ask?
Yes, second question I forgot, Maharaj.
No problem.
It's okay.
So no killing Brahmins, women, anybody because the law will say that.
Oh no. See, why they say again and again, in those days, each and every the man, they used to develop their own self protection. They used to learn many things. Even the ordinary people also, they used to learn that self-defense. But the women, naturally, by nature, they are weak. So you are not supposed to kill them. You are not supposed to fight them. Children, by nature, they are weak. You can go and fight of the same type of person, same equally capable person. You go and fight, challenge them and fight. But that was the system in those days. We will perhaps, when we will be discussing about the Bhagavad Gita, all these details will come. The system was wonderful. If you were an archer, you should not fight with the person who is fighting with the sword, because he cannot protect himself. You have to fight with another archer. And those who are fighting the sword fight, then the gada and the bhalla, they used to throw that bhalla. That also, you cannot fight with the person who is not having that. The same equal type of power, then only you can fight with that. Suppose a man is sitting on a chariot and from there fighting, and the person who is standing on the ground, you are not supposed to kill them. That was also the system. So you are not supposed to fight with them. So that whole thing was. Afterwards, we came to know from the Britishers, everything is fair in war and love. No. How everything can be fair? What is bad, that is bad everything, everywhere. So that was there.
So in today's world, the archer cannot fight with the foot soldier or with the sword or whatever. In today's world, if you are a big shot and you have a servant in front of you, you cannot abuse him. It is the same rule.
Same rule. But today's world, that is somebody sitting somewhere putting only a finger on a switch, and a long distance missile is coming, and we won't understand what is that, and immediately when we will try to understand, we will be dead. And that is terrible. Only 2%, see, the 2% they were knowing this type of missile warfare, that is our Arjuna and what is his name? Now, who secretly killed the children of Arjuna? I mean, what is his name? The Iti Gaja, they say. Not Ashwatthama. Ashwatthama Hatha Iti Gaja. This Ashwatthama also was having the capacity of using the missiles, and Arjuna too. So when the Ashwatthama, without taking into account that what he's going to do out of anger, he sent that, then they asked Arjuna to stop that missile. So that type of things were there, but unfortunately they didn't keep the details information of all that. That is the thing. Anyway, slowly it will come. Okay, let us say Shanti together. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om